Hello, I'm going to be walking you guys through my ridiculous XP build. I use it a lot for raids. I use it on day-to-day basis as well. I use this specifically with my Cremator and the Holy Fire. Something else is that this build works really well also with a plasma caster. So if you're running like West Tech, for example, I prefer running that with a plasma caster rather than a Cremator. This build works fantastic for that. You can really rise through the ranks pretty fast with that. It's a bloodied, no power armor, heavy energy flame. That's kind of the best way to just summarize it. I would say it's not the best for beginners since it uses a lot of legendary perk cards, but it's something that you can work up to. All right, so this is the actual base numbers of my special stats. So I have a 7 in strength, 3 in perception, 9 in endurance, 10 in charisma, 15 in intelligence, a 2 in agility, and a 10 in luck. And then with my legendary perks, I have all of the legendary special perks with the exception of perception added to make this all as high as possible. So with that, it puts me at a 12 in strength, 3 in perception, 14 endurance, 15 charisma, 15 intelligence, 7 agility, and 15 luck. Now this is also a VATS heavy build, so that's why I do have so much invested into luck. Obviously, if you don't want to play that way, don't use this build. I'm not telling you you have to. Ignore the things that anybody has shared with me. For strength, we have Master Heavy Gunner, Expert Heavy Gunner, and Lock and Load. Pretty standard heavy gun kind of perks. In perception, we have Night Person. This is going to be one that's going to give you that extra 3 in intelligence in your special. It only works at night, so that's something just to keep in mind. So your special number will kind of fluctuate a little bit throughout the day. So you are going to want to have starch genes on for this perk. I'll go over the mutations in a little bit there, but just to start, in endurance, we have Life Giver. Again, just more XP. Ironclad, just to give us more protection. Bullet Shield, again, great heavy gun perk. Cola Nut. Cola Nut is something that a lot of people kind of overlook. It seems a little stupid to begin with, but it's really useful. I'm going to go over the consumables later, but very useful perk. Fireproof. I use this one mostly whenever I'm running like expeditions or something, but I do keep it on. It's just a decent one so you don't get hurt by any flame attacks. If you really don't like that one, you can switch it out for something else, but Starch Genes is going to be really important to this one. Moving on to charisma, we've got Party Girl. The positive effects of pre-war alcohol are tripled. This is gonna be really useful. We're gonna be using a lot of Nuka Dark. As far as I'm aware, it's the only alcohol in the game that doesn't lower your intelligence, so we'll be using that a lot. I have Inspirational on, which increases your XP on a team based off of your charisma. So that's why we wanna have as much charisma perks as possible. So that's why it's up at a 15. Happy Go Lucky, again, your luck is increased by 3 under the influence of alcohol. Since I'm a VATS user, it just helps kind of make things go a little bit better. Bodyguards is just gonna give you more damage resistance and energy resistance based off of your charisma. Since we're at a 15, it's going to help, and especially when you're in a full team, it's going to help more. Magnetic Personality gives you 2 charisma for each teammate, excluding yourself. Kind of honestly, I just needed kind of perks to fill in to charisma, so that one's there. Strange in Numbers, great for mutations. Suppressor and Tenderizer are going to be 2 that just kind of help combat go a little bit easier. Into intelligence. So intelligence is going to be at a max 15 at your base, not including the legendary. The legendary will increase your special altogether, but you won't be able to add any more cards to it. To be quite honest, a lot of these cards I kind of just need to fill things out, but I will highlight exactly which ones are the most important. So of the ones that I'm going to really point out, Nerd Rage is going to be one of the most important here. It's going to increase your damage and your AP regeneration whenever you have low health. So again, this is a bloody build. That's going to be fantastic for this. Science is going to increase your damage based off of your intelligence. So again, that higher intelligence is going to help. And then lastly, Pyrotechnician is going to increase your fire damage based off of your intelligence. Since this is a Cremator build, yeah, it's going to be useful. The rest of these that I have in here, I have First Aid, Field Surgeon, Armorer, batteries included, Scrapper, Gunsmith, and Chemist. Chemist I actually really do like because I do farm a lot of Berry Mentats. Since I just need to have that 15 filled out, I kind of just put in cards that I felt were the most useful at that time. In Agility, we have Action Girl, which is going to help with AP regen. That's really the most important here. Evasive is great too because there's a chance that you won't be getting hit. Born Survivor, I only have it as a 1-star. Again, if you don't care about Evasive, you could definitely up that, but you're going to just run through stims faster in my experience. And then Dodgy as well. Again, those ones aren't like the most important. Most important of that is definitely going to be Action Girl. And in luck, the most important perks that I'm going to highlight is going to be Bloody Mess. You're going to get extra damage, better crits, which is going to give you a lot more damage, which again, VATS crit build, this is going to be fantastic for that. And 4-Leaf Clover, which with 4-Leaf Clover and with this build, you're going to be getting a crit every 2 to 3 shots. So it's going to raise really fast. You're going to be using, VATS a lot. It's really, really useful. So just to go over luck, Bloody Mess, Better Criticals, Ricochet, 4-Leaf Clover, Class Freak, Curator, and Crit Savvy. Curator is another one I actually do want to point out. That one's going to help your bobbleheads last twice as long, and we are going to be using a leader bobblehead to get us more XP, so just another great thing to have. Now then, we're going to touch on to some fun things with armor. Something I forgot to mention is the flannel shirt and jeans that you're going to want to be wearing. If you have the shielded lining, it's going to give you +3 charisma, +3 intelligence, and +1 luck. All right, so since this is a bloody build, this probably is nothing new to you. We're going to be having full unyielding armor. What I really want to point out is the 3 following legendaries on there, which is unyielding, intelligence, and through hikers. Those are going to be really useful for this build. Unyielding is going to give you +3 special, except for endurance when your health is low. So when you're at the full bloodied, it's going to be very beneficial. You're going to get a lot more intelligence, so a lot more XP out of things. My second star is going to be intelligence, so especially when you have it stacked on all 5 pieces of your armor, it's very useful. You are going to be getting a lot more XP off of that. And then lastly is through hikers, which is very useful because we're going to be using a lot of consumables, so it just makes things a lot easier to carry. Similarly to armor with the backpack, I would recommend having a refrigerated modification on your backpack. It's going to help a lot to keep all of your consumables lasting a lot longer. And again, we're going to be using a lot of consumables, so that's what I would recommend. So moving on to our mutations. Adrenal Reaction is going to be giving you a lot more damage. Bird Bones is going to just help with AP. Now, something with serums that a lot of people don't know is that if you just retake them, you're good. You can just, like, it gets rid of any of the negatives, so retake them as needed. And especially if you are using this build to run raids, which is what I typically do, you're going to be getting so many serums that it's not even an issue. Eagle Eyes is going to increase your perception and your VATS crit damage. Egghead is going to be another fantastic one for intelligence. So this one is going to increase your intelligence, lowering your strength and your endurance. But again, you can just repop these, you're good. Next one is going to be Herbivore. Now, I run Herbivores. If you run Carnivores, I'm sorry, I can't help you with the buffs. I'm not as familiar with what consumables are necessary. This is going to be for Herbivores specifically. Marsupial is one that you're going to probably want to stock up on. Marsupials is great because it gives you a higher jump, but the downside is that it lowers your intelligence. But again, if you stock up on this, you can just take it as needed, and then you won't be having that lower intelligence. And every time you take a serum, it does last for 1 hour. So you are going to be not experiencing those negatives for an hour. And then my last 2 are going to be Scaly Skin, which is just going to increase your damage and energy resistance, and Speed Demon, which makes you move faster. Not super necessary, but I like to have it, so we're going to take that as well. And with just those taken, my intelligence has already gone up significantly. As you can see, I'm not even bonded with everybody on my casual team right now. That's something else that I would just throw out there, is be on a casual team. You're going to get more of an intelligence bonus the more people are on the actual team. So that's going to be that for the actual mutations and the cards. So now we're going to get into some of the more interesting kind of things that we can do. So the leader bobblehead is going to give you a plus 5% bonus XP when you are using it, and when you have that curator card, it's going to last for an entire 2 hours. If you don't have that curator card on, it's only going to last 1 hour, so you're just getting more bang for your buck when you have that on. And then another one that I would really recommend is Berry Mentats. I know everybody's probably heard about Berry Mentats at this point, but they are extremely useful. You're going to get plus 5 intelligence, and it highlights any living targets. So again, great for just daily like gameplay when you're just trying to find targets and kind of feeling lazy. It's going to help you out in that aspect. But aside from that, it's really useful. They only last for 5 minutes, so I farm them in mass, and I have a ridiculous amount. Like I think I have 300 in my stash right now, and that's low for me. When you're at your camp and you sleep in a bed, you will get a well-rested buff. This is also going to add some extra XP. I believe it's an extra 5% XP. We'll take a look in a second. So since I have Leo at my camp right now, which we're going to talk about Leo in just a second, you get the Kindred Spirit boost. It's the same as well-rested. It just lasts for, I believe, 2 hours instead of the 1 hour. All right, so now we're going to move on to the actual food items. So this is where things get a little interesting. So what I'm going to start with is Black-Eyed Susan's Soothing. This is fantastic if you want to put out extra damage. However, the downside is that if you want to stack it with Cranberry Relish, you won't get that extra bonus XP. So you're only going to get the damage. So I use it, but I don't always use it. So if I'm really caring more about getting XP at that moment, I won't be using this. Although you get the extra XP, it's not the most XP that you can be receiving, but the extra damage is kind of worth it. So just really depends on if you care more about taking down enemies or if you care about getting that XP. The next one that I'm going to mention is Brain Bombs, which I apparently don't have on me right now. Let me go to my freezer. Something that I will say, and we'll go over camp things in a little bit, having a freezer is going to be fantastic. You can also have a refrigerator. You can get these from, I believe, from Cremator. If not, you can get it from Foundation with gold bullion. So Brain Bombs, they are going to give you plus 8 intelligence. This is going to be one of the best consumables. This one lasts for an hour and a half, it looks like. And then the next thing is definitely going to be the Cranberry Relish. This is going to give you the 20% extra XP. It usually will give you 25. I don't know why it's saying only 20% for me. A little concerning about that, but there you go. So it'll still give you that extra XP. Fantastic, take it, awesome, love it. Next thing is gonna be Nuka-Cola Cranberry. Now this is something that you are going to need to have Leo at your camp for. So if you head over to him, you can go ahead and offer him a Nuka-Cola. He'll ask what flavor, and then if you offer him the Cranberry Nuka-Cola, you will receive the Nuka Inspiration perk for temporarily. So you will get an additional XP boost there. So in the Pip-Boy, it shows an extra 5% XP. So again, fantastic for that. Something else I forgot to mention is Nuka-Cola Dark. You're going to want to take this as needed, but it's going to give you just extra strength and endurance. And again, with that cola nut perk, you're just going to get even more of the benefit. Now, another thing in terms of consumables that I want to mention is Nuka-Cola Twist. Now, this is something that it's kind of random, and so it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say you need to rely on it, but you will, with the Nuka-Cola Nut perk, you will get 3 times the benefit with it. So whenever you take it, you're going to get a random 2 bonus to different specials. So I've just taken one now. Let's take a look. So it's given me +2 strength, +2 charisma, and +2 luck. So these are extra special buffs that you wouldn't have any other way. The slice of birthday cake. So you can get these from these camp items here. This is the one I have at my camp. There's also the slime cake. It was from a recent season. This is going to give you a charisma increase. So this one, it does last for a little bit longer than the next one that I'm going to mention. So it's good to have it just on the back. When you have the inspirational card on your build, anything to give you charisma is going to give you extra XP. Last 2 things I want to mention is going to be light soup. So this is going to just increase your critical damage by 100%. Only lasts 30 minutes, so it's not going to be a super long-term kind of thing, but still very useful. I guess I lied. I guess I have 2 other things I can mention, which is Sweetwater's special blend. This one you can get from a daily quest, and you just have to bring Sweetwater some honey, and then there you go. You get this, and it gives you +12 perception. So just useful again for VATS accuracy. And then the last one is going to be the steeped ash rose tea. This is going to give you that +4 in charisma. And this one also only lasts for 30 minutes, so it's not going to be a huge XP boost, but it is going to be something. It's going to help, you know. Everything helps. Last couple things I want to mention is going to be anything in your camp. So I'm going to go over quickly the different kind of boosts you can take. Now these don't last forever. Some of them only last 30 minutes. Some of them do last an hour, but some of them only last 30 minutes. This is something you can build in your camp, and they are going to give you boosts. Some things you can get from Gold Bullion. Some things I believe might be Atomic Shop only, but if anything, just find somebody on your server who has them. Most people have, if they have any boosts, they're going to put them at their camp. What I have here is I have the Mothman Tome, I have the weight bench, the Stargazer's telescope, the exercise bike, the Sentomatic perfume dispenser, the mechanical derby game, the cosmic capture, and the fortune teller machine, as well as here we have I just have a base. It doesn't really matter. Any instrument, it's going to give you the well-tuned boost, which is going to help you with AP. They don't take too long. Some of them, like I think the longest one is actually the Mothman Tome. I think that one takes maybe 30 seconds to get. I think well-tuned maybe takes a second too. But aside from that, it just takes a little bit of time, and you're going to get all of those extra special points essentially to your build. Something that I did at my camp that a lot of people don't do is I actually labeled which ones actually help which one. There are different versions of these similar items that will do the same. Like, so for example, the Sentomatic, I believe there's a vanity set that you can have that your character will just like sit down at, and you'll get that same boost that way. Some other honorable mentions about things at your camp that are going to help you out is going to be your company tea machine and your canned coffee maker. Now, both of these are different items that are going to give you sort of AP boosts as needed. So I keep them ready to go, locked and loaded, baby. Canned coffee is going to give you +12 AP regen for 25 seconds, and company tea is going to give you 25% AP regen. Canned coffee only lasts for 25 seconds, so you kind of use that one as needed, and company tea lasts for an hour, so it's just going to help you have faster AP regen, so really useful. There are some other consumables that you can take that are going to help with other things. Like, there are different things you can take to boost your endurance, which again does matter, but a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, I do a lot of group raids, and like, even if I don't have like the most insane endurance, this build carries me throughout the entire thing. I can even do the serpent with this. And then the last thing I just want to talk about is the actual weapon. I use a Cremator. This was the season reward from, I think, the Atlantic City season, so quite a while ago at this point. The modifications that I have on there are the heavy barrel, the huge propellant tank, and the napalm tank. I don't use the slow burning modification on there. I don't personally enjoy using it as much. I prefer kind of just like the quick turnaround that I already have with this, but some people do prefer that, so you can use that. The legendaries that I have on here are going to be Bloodied, Vital, Intelligence, and Pyromaniac. So since I'm Bloodied and like Nerd Rage and everything like that is popped off, like the damage is insane. Vital I use for the 50% crit damage. I just want extra with my crits personally. I do know some people who will use Rapid with this. That's another option if you prefer that. The +3 Intelligence, this is what's going to give you that extra XP, especially if you're doing something like a raid or like an expedition. You're just going to get a little bit extra intelligence at the end that way. And then the 4th star, now you do have to get 4 stars through doing raids, but I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably grinding raids just the same as I am. It's going to give you that plus 50% bonus damage when the target is burning, and this is a fire weapon. They're going to be burning. Some extra little bonus things that I will mention are different ways to get some of the consumables. Obviously, I'm not going to get into details about all of the different consumables because some of them are kind of a pain to get. In terms of Nuka-Cola Twist, I would recommend having a Collectron at your camp, and you can actually set it to different parameters. I actually have it set to the Christmas gift one because I wanted to get more of the sugar bombs for creating brain bombs, and that's just an easy way to get them, so that way I don't have to run a path for it, although you can easily. But the Nuka Quantum and related materials, that is going to be the one that's going to give you the most Nuka Twists. Another option to have at your camp, and again, I think this is an Atomic Shop item, but is the Nuka-Cola mystery machines. They will randomly give you a Nuka-Cola as you take it. I literally have notes, so I'm just double checking. Last thing that I definitely forgot to mention, but is still relevant, is lunchboxes. Each lunchbox gives you plus 25% gained XP. You can only have a max of 4 that like are active at a time for that XP. Everything else is kind of a waste. It's worth mentioning. It's something that will make a difference, especially in terms of gaining XP. All right, so Night Person has perked. It's after 6 p.m. in the game. I'm now on a team that is fully bonded, and we're sitting at 68 intelligence. And now I'm just gonna pop a Berry Mint and hope for the best of the Nuka Twist. And look at that, 75 intelligence. So, and it has gone up higher before, and I'm honestly not always 100% sure what makes it go up so high, but I have gotten it up to 82 before. I believe that's like my record, honestly. There you go. But I mean, even then, 75 intelligence is kind of a lot. It's a really great build for anything that you want to gain XP off of. So really great for raids, really great for expeditions. And yeah, just really quick, just so you can see, we're gonna run to West Tech, and with everything going, 4,000 XP off of each super mutant. I mean, you can't beat that, really. I've been working with this build for quite a while, tweaking it as every kind of season and update changes it, and I know I'm gonna have to change it again soon, but as of right now, immediately, this is what's working, and it's working pretty damn well, I'd say. Everything is really intentional. Everything works for a reason. So that's it. That's the build. Hope this helps, and good luck. Have a good one.